what do you feel like your timeline is going to be like for the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years?
Launching the EFS study is huge for us. It's the first time that's the early feasibility. Yeah. So it's going to be the first time that a person ever receives a Paradromics device, and they're going to be using it to communicate again. Very significant validation of the technology, but also just at a human level, this is probably the biggest unmet need that you can imagine serving with BCI, because we're specifically designing this device for people who have lost the ability to speak, have limited hand function, and are essentially trapped in their bodies. And so that's what's everyone's focused on right now. Where are we going in the future? I see innovation at Paradromics follows kind of two paths that run in parallel and support each other. On one side, we're fundamentally a hardware company. We're going to continue making devices that are more robust, safer, lower power consumption, so they can run for a longer and longer time off of battery. They're just going to continue to do more. All of these new innovations and being able to get more data in and out of the brain will then also open up new application areas. So in the same way that home download speeds, in 1990 only supported a certain kind of internet app. And now today, you can do all kinds of things on the internet. ECI is on a similar kind of trajectory. BCIs that are in the clinic right now are based on a device called the Utah Ray that was invented in 1989. And all of the innovation that's happened with this Utah Ray over the last 20 years of human clinical science was due to just the blood, sweat, and tears of incredible clinical researchers. But now we're on a path. Paradromics device is considerably higher data rate. And our next device after this, double or triple the data rate of that. And we're going to be in a sort of like Intel, sort of NVIDIA situation where the hardware just keeps getting better and the kinds of things we can do keeps getting better. So the hardware thing is something I'm really excited about. But then alongside of that is applications. We want to start launching in new indication areas and running feasibility trials with new populations of patients and looking and seeing, hey, what can these devices do in especially areas like mental health? And so that's another thing that you'll see over the next 3 to 5 years coming out of Paradromics.
That's fantastic. What I'm most excited about is that, no offense to our buddies over in Florida, but I love devices because they are interventional, they fix things, and we don't have an addiction issue. So I'm excited about most when you tell me this is that I think one of the biggest issues on the pharmaceutical side is treatment of neurological diseases or mental health, because while you're treating one thing, all kinds of issues come up as a byproduct of the side effects. And this is going to be a true non-pharmaceutical approach to solving some of our bigger.
And I think the other thing is it could potentially allow us to better manage pharmaceuticals. There are a lot of drugs that we know can work, but titering them so that you get the benefits without the problems, knowing how to dose them, when to dose them, knowing which medication someone should be on, or God forbid, mixing medications. All of those things, like our current paradigm exists in a data sparse, kind of dumb environment, right? Like everything exists in an environment where the only thing we can do is give you pills and ask you questions.
If you get around to asking those questions, if a patient follows up, I mean, it's so crazy when I think about it. It's like if when you're trying to manage something that's like a metabolic disease or something, we do blood work, right? But imagine if you didn't have blood work and you're just like giving somebody medication.
Now imagine that you do have brain work. Now imagine that people with serious mental illness.
You say brain work?
Yeah, brain work.
Okay, we're TM that. You heard it here first. Matt Angel came up with that term.
Imagine you have a serious mental health condition. You've been seeing neurologists or psychiatrists. You've been sort of trying the drugs that they're not quite working. You're frustrated. What if you could get a device and have objective real-time data coming off of your brain? And instead of being guided by like someone who's armchairing it, what if it could be guided by data and data scientists? It could be a totally new path. I mean, all the psychiatrists will hate me for saying that. I'm probably going to be barred from like certain scientific meetings, but it's true. Data is good. And everywhere in medicine where we shine the light of data, we get better outcomes. So the brain is definitely a good place to do that.